Figure it out.
Hello, my name is Dr. Paul Charno, and this is Bad Movie Theatre. My mission to review some of the worst films ever made, not only for your enjoyment, but also for my personal pleasure. It is my sincerest hope that you won't need to have seen today's film. But if you have, you will better understand me to my fullest. Furthermore, I feel that all bad movies have a moment that is so horrific that the movie can never come back. This is known as the moment in which the film goes full retard. This is so significant that I have no choice but to point it out to you. So, without further ado, I present to you today's episode, 3 Ninjas. This movie screams the 1990s. It was an attempt to cash in on the strange wave of pro-child action movies that were occurring at the time. So they attempted to combine Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Home Alone, and it equated to this. I also suspect they wanted to try and recreate the spirit of the Karate Kid, but let's just say they failed to sweep the lake. The basic premise is that some old fat Japanese guy has 3 white grandsons and teaches them how to master all you need to know on how to become a ninja over the duration of 1 summer. Then they use their skills to help them take down an evil empire run by some guy named Snyder. I'll tear out your liver! Who seems to want to sell weapons and build a more powerful ninja army than he already has or something. So, we then find out that their father is part of the FBI. They create a sting operation that was also pretty poorly executed. First, Snyder knows Sam Douglas by name and face, yet he felt he could act in the sting operation and not be detected. Second, the undercover agent they put out there becomes an obvious target for Snyder. Once he reveals he's with the FBI, he proceeds to mock Snyder, a man so powerful that he has a ninja army. So Snyder knocks him out and takes him hostage. How did they not see that coming? Third, this is a minor point, but Snyder seems to think he can sell armaments to a presumed Middle Eastern man for use on the US in a densely populated American city in broad daylight and not be detected. So this next scene has quite a load of exposition. We suddenly then learn their father's name is Sam Douglas, and he's known Snyder ever since he worked with their grandfather, Mori Tanaka. Pretty amazing coincidence, don't you think? Perhaps a little too convenient? Even the children find this suspicious later in the film. Snyder then gives us their entire family tree. It's really strange to get this kind of information so quickly and in such a ham-handed fashion from the villain of all people in a movie.
Mori Tanaka's my ex-partner, and Douglas married his daughter, you idiot.
This is not traditional storytelling. So, of course, Snyder decides he wants to see Mori, and then attacks him with a bunch of ninja minions. Because, you know, that's, of course, a great way to say hello. So the children intervene and the ninja army fails. It's rather insulting to the FBI to think that they were helpless against the force of these very same ninjas, but 3 children did it without breaking a sweat.
Passed my little test, partner.
Snyder asks Mori 2 things. One, to have his son-in-law Sam Douglas stop doing his job as a federal officer, and that Mori train his useless and pathetic ninja army.
Or I'll tear out your liver!
This was Snyder's ultimate plan, which I will point out later was completely and totally pointless. He then actually asks the kids to come and work for him.
Maybe they like to work for me.
What?
I found this scene to be good for a lark. Mori actually teaches the children how to strike a man in the genitals.
And here.
Most amusing that this actually matters later. So then they establish that there's this weird-looking little girl named Emily that is the sort of love interest for the Rocky character. Yes, not like it is obvious that she'll become some sort of pawn later in the film. I mean, what else could she possibly serve as? At their age, no one in the audience could possibly want to see them hook up. Anyway, we then see Snyder come up with the genius plan of capturing Sam Douglas's kids and using them as leverage so that Sam will leave him alone. This would make sense except for the fact that he actually witnessed these very children decimate his ninja army. Still, fine, he believes they are just children and can be easily acquired. Even though he thought they were at one time good enough to join his forces.
Maybe they like to work for me.
What?
Mr. Brown!
Yeah.
The feds have us all under surveillance. Every move we make, they're watching. We need some outside guys.
So they end up with a few dumbass stoner surfer types to do what trained assassins could not. Snyder then actually says,
God, I love being a bad guy.
"This upsets me. I very much dislike it when the villain acknowledges that they are evil or the negative force, as it completely invalidates their position as a logical character. Even the most, quote, evil, unquote, figures in history believe their actions were in some way for the greater good." So then a gang of what I assume are 13-year-old children decide to steal Emily's bike because their leader claims,
Yeah, looks like it fit my little sister perfectly.
how could this be tolerated? Are his parents poor and they endorse this sort of behavior? In yuppie suburbia, this would not stand. The absurdity is mind-boggling. She knows this gentleman. She could go home and be like,
Yo, that kid stole my bike. Call his parents.
or hell, her best friend appears to be Rocky, and his father works for the FBI. This is how the situation would have unfolded were she intelligent and had reported it.
Yeah, little horsey, how about some hay?
Freeze, FBI!
There is no way he could get away with this. However, as opposed to doing it like that, the two ninja children, rather than using their ninja skills, decide to play them in a game of basketball and bet on the outcome for the bike. Why do something so complex when you had various other superior options to come out victorious? I will never know. Take a look at this child on the right with the Bulls logo on his jacket. Did someone tell him to do this, or was that his own ingenious idea? By the way, apparently this child does this rather often.
I seem to be collecting quite a few bikes today.
Two problems. One, this means he does this regularly, and no one has stopped this. And second, when they stole Emily's bike, the other guy claimed he was going to use it for his little sister. Although this guy actually is the one who takes it, which begs the question, what is he going to do with a weird-looking little girl's bike?
How many points to a game?
10, duh.
Fine, we'll spot you 9.
Why give them a 9-point lead? You only significantly increase the odds of your failure, or just showboat for no reason. Not exactly a good quality in a ninja.
A ninja shouldn't be overconfident, Grandpa.
Even the creepy little girl says this.
Why are you showing off? I'm not showing off. I'm playing basketball.
Oh, of course, this is like a strategy. Lull them into a false sense of security so that their guard goes down, and then you can just decimate them? By the way, just because they are ninjas, that doesn't mean they're good at basketball. The actual game is ludicrous. They tend to defy the laws of physics by jumping to insane heights. Somehow. Ah yes, of course, here it is, my favorite shot in the entire movie. I could watch it endlessly. It so perfectly describes, without saying anything, exactly the pain I feel while watching this film. So, whatever. They win a ridiculous game and the girl gets her bike back, I guess. So then we see Grandpa spying on Snyder and his army, who of course have their own battleship. He does this by following them in a car and spying on them with binoculars. Very clever. How did they not notice this? For ninjas, they are pretty inept to their surroundings. Then we're back and the Home Alone aspect of this movie comes into play.
Who is this bad guy anyway?
And there's a picture of him right there on the top of that file.
Colt finds a picture of his grandfather and Snyder together and claims that they're
It
friends.
says so on the back. Hugo Snyder, business associate, Mori Tanaka.
Well, actually, a business associate is like a business associate. It could mean anything. You're not socially involved with them necessarily. But whatever.
And we saw him joking around with Grandpa yesterday.
No, they didn't. They fought a bunch of ninjas and saw him get threatened.
I will rip out your heart.
Or I'll tear out your liver!
So, of course, here it is. This is the moment. The moment when the movie goes full retard.
You went full retard, man.
These kids find out that burglars, as far as they're concerned, have broken into their house and have guns. Rather than call the police, they make a conscious decision to just use their ninja skills to defeat them.
If we can take these 3 robbers ourselves, then maybe Dad will see that our ninja training's worth it. Yes!
This is not a logical plan. In all probability, this is what would happen to you. So, despite this just suddenly happening, they have time to devise a series of plans that actually have phases.
Prepare for phase 1.
None of which require ninja skills, Just little traps they managed to set up in a matter of seconds.
Okay, phase 2. Hold it. Before phase 2, I've got a little surprise.
I'm sorry. Where did Colt get that laxative? I'm serious. Where? When the hell did he go, I'm going to need this later, I better put this in my pants right now? So, then they gave the diarrhea-inducing concoction to these two dumbasses. Convenient that you coincidentally gave them something in the previous scene that would make them insanely thirsty. There is no way these children planned it out that well. Look, I know these guys are dumb, but don't you think even they would be a tad suspicious of this? Why wouldn't they automatically just assume it's a trap? So the girl becomes an object of tension, as we all knew she would. The three morons open the door to the office where the boys are just hanging out and show that they have a hostage. But wait, why were the boys in there? They just appear to be either practicing or killing time. Was this all phase 2? They were just going to wait until the three dumbasses grabbed Emily, then found them, so they could hit Fester on the head while the other two ran off and made a bowel movement. If so, good job. If not, I believe phase 2's purpose was to murder them.
Time to die.
So, Rocky and Colt find this guy and he pleads,
Not the stomach, not the stomach. Thanks.
but then Tom Tom proceeds to bash in the other guy's stomach with a ball's head. What does that say about them? Either Rocky and Colt have morals of some kind, or they're weak, while Tom Tom is either a jerk or incapable of being bargained with. So then Emily decides to drink something that she saw just laying around. But she's conveniently stopped by Tom Tom, who only seconds earlier was beating down some man with a ball's head. But this obviously means she went back into the kitchen and acquired the beverage, because that's where we saw it last. And then decided to bring it back out here into the main room and put it down. She then decided it would be a good idea to drink a milky white cola, for no other reason than what appears to be boredom. That or she's an idiot. I'd like to believe that she sipped it a few times before she made it out into the main room, however. That would teach her not to be so stupid. Obviously, she would not tell them had she drunk it in that moment, as that would be incredibly embarrassing. Proof of this is that later we see her give a note to the kid's mother, and then run away, despite the fact that their mother calls out, Emily, seeking for her to return. But she doesn't. Why? I'm fairly certain she had to return home and shit her brains out. Anyway, they then open the closet door and basically free the babysitter, who still has pizza on her face. She's been in there for at least an hour. Why wouldn't she at the very least remove the hot, scolding pizza from her face? So then, of course, Snyder's actual henchmen show up for no reason. This is absurd. 1. Snyder has no reason to assume that the three dumbasses have failed. Awesome! 2. Aren't there supposed to be feds watching them constantly? Wasn't that the whole point in getting these stoner morons in the first place?
Feds have us all under surveillance.
3. Why would they choose this exact moment to acquire the kids? Oh, right, of course. For tension in the story. So, here's the plan. They have an army of cops and federal officers. They know exactly where Schneider is and how to attack. But instead of doing that, they're going to trust an old fat Asian dude claiming to be a ninja to defeat him. Makes sense to me. By the way, I must add, I rather fancy this moment.
What are you doing here? I came to check on the family.
This implies it's normal behavior for him to show up in a ninja suit, with a sword, in the dead of night. Rather amusing. This guy must be a blast at Christmas. So the children arrive at the ship and openly claim,
If they have guns, they're no ninjas.
why the fuck do they dress up like that then? Does Snyder's empire have a dress code?
Hello, security.
Apparently it does. Even the phone operator has to wear one. So, they trick the guard and take him down.
Great plan, Einstein. Well, you're gonna put them in a cell with one inept guard and they'll escape. God, you do this every time!
That child just ripped a pipe off the wall with his bare hands, and then proceeded to make nunchucks out of it, while the other children had time to make equally crude weapons, all the while being threatened by enemy ninjas. How is this possible? So then, of course, the children continue to just easily crush trained assassins without threat of defeat, It's...
Cake.
Right? Yes. Then something happens. They are stopped by this man. Apparently in this world, fat old Asian men are the most powerful force of all. Just as all hope seems lost, the grandfather enters and says this.
Light up the eye!
No doubt, this film's failed attempt to recreate this.
Sweep the leg.
They strike him in the genitals a few times and he goes down. Then, all the ninjas of course just whip out guns and the boys give up. So then Maury and Snyder get into a fight, but not before Tum Tum can give his grandfather some candy, quote, for luck, unquote. I know he uses them to defeat Snyder, and that's what they're there for in the story, but realistically, wouldn't he be like, I'm about to get into a fight, child. I can't fight with candy in my hands. No, he would rather risk defeat and therefore his mortality than theoretically to hurt his grandson's feelings.
I'll tear out your liver!
I never lose. Never.
All right, freeze! This is the FBI! The ship is surrounded!
Wow, apparently all those guards we saw outside were completely and totally useless. So, by the end, the father is okay with their training. The moral lesson of this story appears to be, take on armed men and you'll be fine. This is not a great lesson for children. So, earlier I alluded to the idea that Snyder's plan was pointless. Here's why. If Maury had been smart and had actually accepted Snyder's offer, this is how the movie could have played out.
Maybe they like to work for me.
Okay, I accept your offer. Remember those crappy ninjas we just fought? Well, we're going to pretend to train them and get paid to do it. This is a big hug.
What are you doing here?
Hang on, I'm coming over. You'll never believe it, the job I just got.
You? You're not even a citizen!
Idiot Snyder is paying me to train his illegal ninja army.
What? Snyder's a criminal! How could you be helping him?
Listen, the boys and I...
The boys? You're supposed to be watching them. Where the hell are they?
I'm trying to explain. The boys and I are pretending to work for him. His secret base is a battleship in the harbor. I'll have him set up for your snipers. Be there in 1 hour. Blah, 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 blah. Look, the old guy's gone.
Oh, thank you for that, Jerry. Thank you. Wait, where'd he go?
All right, freeze! This is the FBI! The ship is surrounded! Nobody move! Drop your guns! It's over! Put the guns down! Now slowly lift your hands.
As you can see, the tale was ultimately pointless. Had the conflict occurred or not, the outcome would have been exactly the same. Thus concludes today's episode of Bad Movie Theatre. Join us again next time. Thank you.